heart. And like I said a few moments ago, I have a solid, demonstrable record of shared power that's real and concrete, that can't be misinterpreted.
Join Tavis Smiley and an all-star panel of political insiders, influencers, and journalists for a look back at the crisis that shook LA City Hall when 4 Latino leaders were caught on tape making racist, demeaning, and derogatory statements about black people and other fellow citizens on Monday, October 9th, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580. The tape, 1 year later. We're broadcast live in Afternoon Drive from 5 to 7 p.m. with an immediate encore presentation from 7 to 9 p.m. When all was said and done, was more said than done. 1 year later, are there fractures in LA's black-brown political partnership? And where do we go from here? Don't miss The Tape, 1 year later. Only on KBLA Talk 1580, Monday, October 9th, live from 5 to 7 p.m. with an immediate encore presentation from 7 to 9 p.m. We've got a lot to talk about.
All's my life I has to fight. All's my life hard times like bad trips like Nazareth, I'm f***ed up, homie, you f***ed up. But if God got us, then we gon' be alright.
We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Huh? We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright.
And when I wake up, I recognize you looking
Look,
at me for the pay cut.
if you had any doubts about the fact that we gonna be all right, these Black Lives Matter Youth Vanguard children should have your hope restored. They are amazing and brilliant and beautiful and committed. Man, they do give me hope. They do give me hope. They do more than hope. They make me know that we gonna be all right. We gonna be all right. And I didn't, I'm going, how are they even able to pull, they're quick, right? Like how they even able to pull their thoughts together so quickly. And they just do. They fed me this morning. How you feel, Billion?
I feel good. You know, that's always inspiring, seeing the next generation stepping into their role.
Yeah.
You know, take the movement forward.
Right. And I love the history that they gave, right? That it is always the young people. It's been the young people who've pushed for us. Everything from the Children's March to, I try to remind my students that, you know, Kwame Ture, one of the most brilliant to ever walk among us, was 19 years old when he was leading the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. That, you know, Huey P. Newton, who's on my shirt this morning, right? Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale were community college students, right? So these young people, because I think they're audacious and visionary, right? They know that when you fight for something, you can win it if you fight. If you don't fight, you're going to lose. But when we fight, we win. That's right. So I'm grateful, incredibly grateful to Shiraz Lawrence, to Hannah Lopez Spears and Kadia Lopez Spears, to Amara Keone Abdullah for being willing to step into that sacred duty. Please follow the Black Lives Matter Youth Vanguard at BLM Youth Vanguard. BLM Youth Vanguard. They not on Facebook because they're young. They on Instagram and TikTok, and that's about it. Instagram and TikTok. Right. You can follow BLM Youth Vanguard. And if you're a young person on your way to school, if you are a parent of young people, remember we have an organizing meeting coming up on Sunday. You can come and bring your kids. The kids organize upstairs. The old folks organize downstairs. But that's on Sunday, 7 p.m. At 3423 West 43rd Place. That's the Black Lives Matter Los Angeles organizing meeting. So again, that's 3423 West 43rd Place on Sunday at 7 p.m. Come on time and you got a hot meal. You'll get a grocery bag to take home, and then we'll be plotting and planning how to win Black Power. You've been to the meetings. What do you think of those meetings, Billion?
Oh, excellent. different generations, allies, but always providing direction, information as to what's really going on, as opposed to all the rumors, but also how people can step in and participate, and especially now that it's centered in Africatown.
I love that it's centered in Africatown. Now, what are you talking about? You said all of the rumors. What do you mean?
A lot of folks who just listen to what's put out on social media about Black Lives Matter, they haven't read your article that was in the LA Sentinel this week, the attempted murder of Black Lives Matter. When people don't have the information coming from folks who are involved, they tend to run with the falsehoods that are thrown out there.
Right. So that article, and I'm grateful to the LA Sentinel for giving us a platform to share what's happening with Black Lives Matter Grassroots. Black Lives Matter Grassroots is Black Lives Matter. We are the formation on the ground. When you think of Black Lives Matter, you're actually thinking about Black Lives Matter Grassroots. We had to add grassroots to our moniker because about a year and a half ago, a highly paid consultant named, he goes by the name of Shalomia Bowers, stole the money. Like when you read about Black Lives Matter receiving $90 million in donations in 2020, he stole that $90 million, right? He stole the Black Lives Matter social media platforms, which I used to be the main person who would put stuff out on BLK Lives Matter. And he stole that. So we no longer have a reach of 5 million people on Instagram that we used to have. And it's kind of, my mom actually used the words, "What's happening? It's so milquetoast." So my mom even wonders what's happening. So, what happened is they stole our money, they stole our platforms, and they're attempting to steal our good name of Black Lives Matter. But we're continuing to do the work. And so I hope that people will read that article and really understand the distinction between a global network foundation that's run by consultants who've never been on front lines, who pay themselves contracts of $2.2 million. That's how much Bowers paid himself in 2020. The following year, he paid himself $1.7 million. And that's just what we know of, right? There's a difference between them and those who are on front lines, right? People like this Youth Vanguard, Amara Keone is on front lines, right? The Lopez Spears sisters are on front lines, right? Thinking about Kalila Williams, also of the Youth Vanguard, who's on front lines. Baba Akili, Mama Paula, Brother Joseph are on front lines. We are Black Lives Matter Grassroots. And to see our work, please follow us at BLM Grassroots. But that article is really about drawing that distinction and also being very clear that the Global Network Foundation is trying to literally strangle the life out of Black Lives Matter Grassroots because we are abolitionists who seek to topple the system that they benefit from, right? And so thank you for lifting up that article. When we come forward, Attorney Brian Dunn just walked in the house, and we're going to be talking about anti-Blackness in Los Angeles and how we defeat anti-Blackness. That's coming forward on First Things First.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Walk to Save Lives. Join the American Heart Association's Los Angeles Heart and Stroke Walk, Sunday, October 22nd at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. Team up with friends and family and walk to end heart and stroke. Every step you take and every dollar raised will help save lives and make our community a healthier place for all. Learn more and sign up for free at heartwalkla.org. Sponsored by Optum, UCLA Health, Providence, Keck Medicine of USC, and Dignity Health.
On your period, sudden gushes happen without warning. But now, you can say goodbye to stand-up gush fears. Thanks to Always Ultra Thins with rapid dry technology. It absorbs gushes 2 times faster than the leading store brand and gives you up to 100% leak-free protection. Hello, clean and comfortable with Always Fear No Gush.
Venture X from Capital One is the travel card for people always asking,
where next?
You earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars, and 5x miles on flights booked through Capital One Travel, and 2x miles on everything else you buy with Venture X. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges. The Venture X card from Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
For all of us, this generation and the next, there is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look, and unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at the gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
And we are in studio with attorney Brian Dunn. My name is Melina Abdullah. I'm sitting in for the Queen of Radio, Dominique DiPrima, here with my brother from another mother, Billion Godson. But attorney Brian Dunn is here, and we are going to be talking a bit about anti-blackness in Los Angeles, everything from the surge in hate crimes against black people. I know we hear a lot about hate crimes, and they'll talk about, Stop Asian Hate, and they'll talk about anti-Semitism, but black people continue to be the number one victims of hate crime, and we need to make sure that we talk about that. If you want to hop in this conversation, our phone number is 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Attorney Brian Dunn.
It is so beautiful to be here. I don't know what I could have done in my life to deserve this honor, but I'm going to take it.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's great to be next to you, Melina.
It's
really
great
is.
to be here with you. It's great to be here with you. And Attorney Dunn and I work together a lot on police violence cases.
Harsh cases, very harsh.
So normally we see each other in the streets as we are standing with families on what's often the worst day of their lives.
Often the worst day. That's when they call us.
That's right. That's right. So I should uplift how grateful we are for your work as an attorney.
Thank you.
People sometimes don't know it's a difficult struggle in these courts.
Amen.
And every attorney doesn't take these cases because they're hard cases.
And because they're intelligent.
They're hard cases, emotionally hard cases, and they're also hard cases to win. So attorneys who take cases against police violence, I believe, another very good friend of mine and someone that I get to stand alongside often is Ben Crump, right?
Yeah, he's definitely working it.
He's phenomenal, and he doesn't win all of his cases. He's one of the best, right? He's in it because his heart's in it.
That's right.
Attorney Dunn, I know that your heart's in it, so I just want to uplift how grateful we are for you being willing to do that work.
Thank you. Blessed.
Before we get into this question of anti-blackness more broadly, I want to ask you if that's one of the ways your work as an attorney is one of the ways that you see yourself as fighting back and combating anti-blackness.
Doctor, it has been a struggle. I've been doing this now for 30 years, and I've had many incarnations. I've had many burnouts, many returns from burnouts. It's taken a toll, but something about me is drawn to this work and vice versa. I don't know if I could put it into words, but I do know that I feel what I'm doing in my soul. And it usually speaks to me when I least expect it. But at this point, I'm like, what else am I going to get out of bed and go to work and do? This is who I am. And this type of struggle you know, you talk to a lot of civil rights lawyers. 55. I've never been married. I have no children. I didn't know that. No, I've never been able to even really make a relationship work really in a tradition. But it has to do with the work. You know, you ask why? Why have I been? Why did I, you know? And you say it has somehow to do with the work because I'm always thinking about this kind of thing. And if someone's going to say, well, you're never present, you're here, but you're not here, you're never present, they're right. And I'm willing to realize now that I'm the reason for the problem. I'm the cause of the problem because my heart is in this and I'm trying to get somewhere, Melena. Yeah. I just don't know when I'm going to get there. And I don't know what's going to feel like or what it's even going to look like, but I know I ain't there yet. And I'm just moving in that direction. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if it's a problem. You know, maybe I'm saying too much because I'm 51 now and I'm happily divorced.
You don't look a day above 32.
I'll take it. This gray streak would say something different.
Oh, I thought you had somebody put that
in. Anyway,
all right.
I would say that I'm happily divorced because, as Sister Jan Williams will say, some of us choose to marry the movement.
Yeah, or it chooses you. I don't know how.
Well, in marriage, you got to choose each other, right? So answering a calling, you know, that is a life that some of us choose to engage in. It doesn't mean that like we don't ever laugh and we don't ever drink tequila shots and we don't ever play good music, but it means that I know what my purpose is.
Yeah.
And heeding what I call a sacred duty is really important. So I wouldn't say you're a problem. I would say that there might have been a different calling for you.
You need to talk to my mama.
Yeah?
Because I think she thinks I'm damaged goods to this day. She must have. I'm telling you, Mom, you didn't do nothing wrong. You might have done something right without realizing it. But you know, you just kind of fall into stuff. And I don't really know any rhyme or reason to it, but I know that our ancestors, they speak to me. I mean, I'm aware of blackness more and more as I get older. And I'm aware of our connection to the past much more and more as I get older because we're standing on the shoulders of some people who have gone through some incredibly brutal times for us to be here. And it's so easy to lose sight of it, you know?
Right.
But we're the part of something that has never happened before in the history of human civilization. For us to come through chattel slavery in the manner that we did and still be here and still be present. And not only that, but moving in the right direction, moving forward somehow. That's an honor that I am starting to understand more and more as the days come.
That's right. Today is Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer's birthday.
Okay, now.
Right. So as you talk about standing on the shoulders of our ancestors, right, we have to remember that they're present. They're ever present, and they demand something of us.
And on Monday of this week, October 2nd, that was Johnny Cochran's birthday.
Talk about that, because he was your mentor.
He was. And 1 year after that, on October 2nd, my birth father, Paul Dunn, was born.
Oh, wow.
I had two fathers, both born on October 2nd. So this is a special
That's interesting.
Yeah, Johnny Cochran and my birth father, and they were both present. They both showed me so much love, took me under their wing. So 10-2 is very important to me.
Talk about your relationship with Johnny Cochran.
That again is the greatest. How many lawyers do you know that can tell you they only had one job in a 30-year career? Very few. I was overcome with a feeling in 2000, or don't get it right, Brian, 1991, when I was a clerk there. The office was janky, Melena. It had a purple carpet. Nothing worked around there. But I had never worked around black people working together. I had never seen that before in my life. And I was telling him, man, I'll do whatever you want. If you know, I will clean the toilet. I will carpet. I will clean this dirty carpet. I will I will do anything for a job here. And I felt that I wanted to work there so badly that it was the most important thing ever. That was before OJ. That was before Michael Jackson. That was before Johnny was signing autographs.
But it wasn't before Geronimo Pratt.
Amen. And I got to work on that case. I worked a lot on that case. But his spirit, the man that he was, just spoke to me. And it spoke to me so strong that I don't even know what I did or how I did, but I've been there working for him and working for his legacy as strong as I can. And when I found out that he was born on the same day as my father, I was like 10 years into working there because I don't think about birthdays and all that stuff. But it was just, you know, it makes you feel like your whole struggle, your whole existence maybe is not a mistake. Maybe it is something to it, you know.
Mm-hmm. In African spirituality, they talk about significators, right? And so the idea that he's born on the same day as your birth father.
I can't think that's a coincidence. I just can't. It's just it's not too random.
Right.
But it's been a soul struggle. And most of what we do, Melina, is behind closed doors. There ain't no paper, there's no press, there's no cameras. And you're watching these things happen going, wow, would anybody believe this if I told them?
So tell me, and we can move forward from this, but what did you learn from Johnnie Cochran?
I learned the importance of faith from Johnnie Cochran. I used to look at him just in awe. I used to be a fly on the wall in the room, and I'd just be watching him and only him. And I really got to know that things weren't always going well for him. And things weren't always going his way, and he wasn't always winning, but you could never tell from the outside. He had the most unshakable faith that I've ever seen. Now, Johnny was a religious guy. I'm not particularly too religious. I believe in Christianity. I believe in all that, but I'm not as Bible-thumping Christian as a lot of our folks are. And Johnny was someone that had just a belief that things were going to be okay. He had a spirit and he had a love in him, Melina. He had a love for all people of all races, of all walks of life. He never forgot a name. And he understood that the being in the law is about helping people. It's about taking care of people.
Right.
And it was just who he was. But the thing is, I could never understand how he remained so cool all the time. I thought it was an act. It was no act. He just had this belief, I'm on my track, I'm doing the right thing, things are going to work out. And they always did somehow, Melina. So I wanted to be like that. Now, I'm not like that yet, but that's what I was striving to do. And, you know, the intangible qualities that Johnnie Cochran brought to the table have to do with all of our struggle. He never quit. He never gave up. And he never lost sight of the big picture. A lot of times, famous black people get used to oppress other black people. Or they get used, or their voice or their struggle gets used in a way that winds up creating a rift between those black people that agree or those black people that disagree. He was just about unity. And he was very careful about what he said when he was behind a microphone. And he had the ability to, and I don't think anyone I could say, never embarrass you as a black man. When you saw him put it down the way he put it down. Thank you so much.
Right. Yeah, I know there's sometimes people come to the mic and you go, oh, no.
What is he going to say, or how is he going to say
it? Right. Right. We had to utter the name Tim Scott this morning because we were talking about another one who will never embarrass you, LaFonza Butler, and like who all is on the U.S. Senate. So now she's one of
That's
4.
going to be something sweet to see.
Isn't it? Isn't it?
And these little things just come out of nowhere, man. We didn't see that coming.
Right. At all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do want to talk about, because we were going to hop into a conversation about anti-blackness in Los Angeles. Yeah. This is something that you raised. Why is it important to focus on anti-blackness in LA?
You know, I don't know if my experience is subjective or it's because I'm constantly dealing with issues related to race. But I seem to feel something's different on the street now when I'm walking out. There's something in the air that seems to be hostile in a manner that I do not remember. I was born and raised in LA, and I'm one of those guys that spends a lot of time outdoors, around the street, interacting with folks. You know, there's little things. We've all dealt with being followed around stores. We've all dealt with folks clutching their bag and doing all these things when we walk by. But, you know, speaking to folks and not getting someone speaking back to you, or having folks deliberately turn their head and avert your gaze when you're walking down the street. The kinds of things that are, you're aware of it. You don't say anything about it. You don't do nothing about it, but it's there. It's in the back of your mind. And I don't know if I'm becoming more sensitive or if it's happening more. But I do know that when I read that article, which was pretty recent, that said that the hate crimes against us, black Americans, in Los Angeles are at an all-time high, or at a 20-year high, when crime's going down everywhere else on every other level. That is something that struck me. And I just don't know if anybody else is going through that, or if anybody else has felt that. I don't know if it's just me.
Right.
I don't know.
So the data is it's not just you. The data is that hate crimes are going up. They've been on an uptick since at least 2016.
Okay, and we all know what happened then.
And then there's a surge, right? There's a surge now of hate crimes. The number one victims of hate crimes are black people.
Always have been.
Have always been, and we get the least attention, right? When people think about hate crimes,
that's such a good point.
They think about Jewish folks, which we're not we're saying anybody who's a victim of a hate crime needs to be tended to.
And that's right.
Right? But black people are the number one victims of hate crimes. What you have me thinking about the neglect of black people who are victims of hate crimes, actually, for me, it spans across so many sectors, right? So when you think about healthcare and black people not being believed when we're in pain, right? Black people not receiving counseling when we need counseling, right? Black students not being loved on but being policed, right? This is how black people are treated. Systems prey upon us and seize upon us. They don't care for us. Right. But I think one of the things that we'll talk about on the other side is how we lift each other up and how we have to care for ourselves. So if we're the number one victims of hate crimes, we also have to build communities, stronger communities, where we care for each other, because these systems are not going to. If you want to hop in this conversation, our phone number is 800-920-1580. We're talking with attorney Brian Dunn.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Comedian Chris Rock is reportedly in talks to direct and produce a biopic on the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Universal is the studio behind the movie. Steven Spielberg will executive produce the project as well. No word yet on when the film is expected to be released. Retailers will offer record-setting discounts for online shoppers this holiday season in an effort to entice inflation-weary consumers to buy. Projections by Adobe Analytics show retailers are prepared to offer up to 35% off listed prices this holiday season, with the deepest discounts on toys, electronics, and clothing. Consumers could spend up to $221 billion online shopping between November 1st and the end of the year. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Lowe's knows fall is the perfect time for outdoor projects. Right now, you can keep your yard looking its best and save. Take care of leaves with leaf blowers starting at just $89.98. Lowe's knows home improvement. While supplies last, see store for details.
Is this the title? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The start time has been set for Game 1 of the Dodgers playoff series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. First pitch Saturday in the best-of-5 series is 6:20 p.m. at Dodger Stadium. LeBron James will not play in the Lakers' first preseason game Saturday at Golden State. LeBron said he wants to play in at least 3 of the Lakers' 6 preseason games. At 38, LeBron will be the oldest active player in the NBA when the regular season tips off on October 24th. Clippers guard Josh Primo is doing some very important multitasking during training camp. Primo participates in mandatory therapy sessions when the team is not practicing. Primo was accused multiple times of indecent exposure in 2022 when he was with the San Antonio Spurs. The San Antonio District Attorney's Office is still investigating the allegations. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
We're celebrating 1 year of the K. From checking out the vibrant art and diverse dining in Leimert Park to cheering on your favorite team in Inglewood, you can choose your own adventure when you ride the Metro K-Line. Leave the car at home and go Metro. Visit metro.net/K-Line.
Have you heard about Lendistry? Lendistry is a national black-led small business lender that is headquartered right here in LA. Once you've started your business, Lendistry provides flexible financing options starting at $50,000 to help you access the affordable capital needed to grow. Whether financing is needed to increase working capital, acquire a business, purchase inventory and equipment, or refinance debt, Lendistry has a solution for you. Lending products range from traditional business term loans and non-revolving lines of credit to SBA 7A loans and commercial real estate financing. Lendistry's pre-application process is simple and does not impact your credit score. Visit lendistry.com/KBLA to learn more and to get started with an application right from the website.
At Susan G. Komen, we believe that ending breast cancer needs all of us working together. Because if you've just been diagnosed and don't know where to turn, we've got you. If you can't afford the treatment you need, we've got you. And if you are driven to honor the loved one you've just lost, we have a place for you here. Because of you, we're supporting those who need help today while tirelessly searching for tomorrow's cures. Visit Komen.org and be a part of our Susan G. Komen community today.
Anyone can choose to make a difference. You can help people succeed, rebuild after disasters, protect the environment, or feed the hungry. Not only will you make a difference for others, but for yourself. You can earn money for college, learn career skills, and make friendships that last a lifetime. Make a difference. Choose your future. Choose AmeriCorps.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio. KBLA Talk 1580.
My name is Melina Abdullah, and I get to sit in the Queen's chair today. Thank
Amen.
you, Dominique, for trusting me with your chair and your mic this morning. I'm in conversation with attorney and brother Brian Dunn. We're talking about anti-blackness in Los Angeles. Billion Godson is helping me hold it down this morning.
Yes.
Brian, during the break, we were talking about you said LA is a racist city.
We don't like to talk about it like that. But Los Angeles is an incredibly racist city. Los Angeles has turned into a mean city. I want to tell you a story. I was at a bar. This was 4 or 5 years ago. This was Maestro's Beverly Hills. I had struck up a conversation with this oil man from Texas. 10-gallon hat, straight out of Central Casting. White guy, southern accent, big,
I've never
portly
seen
guy.
anybody actually wear a 10-gallon hat.
He was wearing it and pulling it off, girl, in L.A., in Beverly Hills, and making it happen. But he was a magnanimous spirit. He was talking, we were really, after about the umpteenth drink, he started really talking to me. And he said he lived his house in the South, and he has been there and he has made all this money, and he's been so much time he has spent in the South, but he said he has never been in a more racist environment than Los Angeles, California. And that was his experience to me. And this is a white guy. And he's saying, you know why? Because people act like it's not. He's like, the reason why we have this is because everybody acts like everything is so perfect. But we have an extreme polarization in terms of where we live, where we go to school. We have an extreme polarization in terms of just simply what supermarket you're going to. And it amounts to segregation. But what it is there is a veil that we act like doesn't exist in LA. And he said that that's part of the reason why he's having trouble, because he was trying to do all these land deals and everything. And there's just a lot of people that would not consider working in certain communities. And it's crazy because are we going to be having this discussion in 2023?
Right. We are having the discussion in
Right.
2023
And that's
because
crazy.
you're absolutely right. And if you look at every single measure, Black people are on the bottom of every single measure.
When Black
right?
people rise, everybody rises.
That's right.
I
That's
mean-
why we say Black Lives Matter, right?
Right.
If Black people win, we all win.
When the hate crimes against blacks go down, they go down against everyone.
Mm-hmm.
We have always been kind of the bull mark in that regard. But it seems as though now we're on an island. And I don't know if that's in my head or if it's real, Doctor. I just don't know.
What do you mean we're on an island? What does that
It
mean?
just seems like now we are, there seems to be an acceptance, a tacit acceptance of anti-blackness. And it seems to have corresponded with the ascendancy of the Trump administration. But I don't know if that has caused it.
Well, Trump riled up what already existed,
Well,
right?
this is a great conversation because it's a chicken or the egg conversation. And then you're always going to get back to some kind of analysis of did Trump cause this or did he merely reveal what was already there? I happen to believe both are true. I happen to believe that if you reveal what's already there, you're going to cause it at the same time. And it's just if folks are comfortable. You know, there's little things. If you're walking down the street and somebody makes a left turn strongly, 5 inches from you, that might be considered an act of aggression. The idea of the fear, I was in just little things. I saw a woman look at me, and she was so overcome with fear in a line that started. She literally fell, just lost her balance and fell. She turned around and saw me, and I was in a suit
You're
too.
a tall Black man,
And I got
right?
a little, but I was in a suit, but I saw her.
But you were in a suit, and she got scared and fell.
Just looked at it, but it was the horror because she turned around in the back, and I was like 3 people behind, and she just, she froze, and she literally fell, and was looking at me like I was the creature from the Black Lagoon. So there's no way. I reached my hand out to help her up, and she's looking at me up and down, and I'm like thinking, well, unless I check you on the ground, I'm trying to help you, and her geriatric crippled friend wasn't going to be able to provide anything more than moral support with her being there. But eventually I lift her up and she sits down, never any eye contact. But the idea is, it's fear. And, the idea is I'm 6'4". I've been unintentionally scaring people of all races my whole life. But an afraid person is a dangerous person, though.
Women are going, he's a single 6'4" Black man. You ain't scared of me.
Who's married to work.
Right.
He's married to his work, and he's a basket case. Damaged goods. But anyway, it's like you see this thing, and you're thinking, okay, if a person is afraid of me, that person is dangerous. Okay, if a person hates me, that person is dangerous. But a person afraid of me, that's just as dangerous.
Well, what do they say? There's only 2 emotions, fear and love, right? And everything else is an extension of those 2
there you go.
emotions. So if they're afraid of you, fear can turn into aggression. Fear can turn into hatred, right? Fear can turn into these hate crimes we've been talking about.
And you wonder, okay, is it time for us to do away with this word racism and replace it with fear? Because the idea of it being in a discussion about race and racism and as a person that's white, that never will get you anywhere. Because once you label a person, they're going to fight back with everything they have, and they're going to say, I'm not racist, I'm not racist. But doesn't it really boil down to you're afraid of me? I mean, if you're in a supermarket and somebody's following you around,
But I don't want to give them a pass, though. And also, like, when we talk about individuals, that's one thing. But then when they're tethered to these institutions, it's more than emotion, right? We got to think about, the structures and material conditions that cause these things, right? So even when you talk about hate crimes, it's not just about. So one of the things that bothered me is when they were talking about like stop Asian hate or they hate us, right? Much of that violence that we experience is not a matter of somebody's emotion. It's a matter of a deliberate and intentional design to maintain oppressive systems that allow, white, seemingly straight men to hoard all the resources.
But why is that?
But that's not about emotion. That's about material conditions. It's because, Trump wants to be on a yacht, right? It's because they want 8 houses while someone else has none.
Well, that's the second part of it, is that I don't only want, but I want you to not want. You see, we as black people weren't raised to believe that another person should not win.
Right.
Or to fear any race. And we're raised to kind of have an equality. I don't know what the word I'm looking for.
Equitable.
That
a lens of equity.
We want you to win. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't got a problem if you've got a house here.
As long as I got one too.
Right. And then there's this other consciousness which says, I want to have these houses, and I want you to not have them. I want you to not be able to move into.
Well, see, the truth is, though, when we look at the economy of it, I wish Dr. Malveaux would call in somehow. But, one of my mentors is Dr. Julianne Malveaux, our beautiful, brilliant economist, right? And she always talks about, when you talk about budgets, when you talk about funds, when you talk about resources, that they are moral and ethical documents, but they're also zero-sum games, right? So if you think about your own wallet, if I spend $20 on Jack and a Crack, right? That's $20 that I don't have to spend on, extra nail designs, right? That if you spend on making sure everybody is housed, where do you get that money from?
Right.
You say, I'm not going to give tax giveaways to people who are already rich or corporations that are already rich. Right. That's what all these strikes are about, right? That when you talk about SAG-AFTRA saying, we want to pay all our actors well, not just, I don't know who's hot, Brad Pitt, right? We're thinking the same, right? But everybody, the background actors need a livable wage, right? That's money that the studio doesn't get to hoard.
Right.
And so there's zero-sum games.
I see what you're saying, exactly.
Yeah.
It's economics, it's physics.
Right. So it's not just about hate, I think, when we talk about anti-blackness. It's also about material conditions. If you want to hop in this conversation, our phone number is 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. When we come forward, Brian Dunn, I want to talk about these tapes. I want to talk about anti-blackness, not just from white folks, but from other people of color. That's coming forward with attorney Brian Dunn right here on First Things First.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Maisha Cairo here for KBLA Talk 1580. We're live in Los Angeles at JP Morgan Chase's Advancing Black Wealth Tour. And I'm speaking to some of the attendees today to see why it was so important for them to be here.
Yeah, this is Lathan and Tyler. Main reason that's very important for me to be here is just to leave a legacy for my kids. Black wealth, generational wealth is what we need in our community, Oh, Chase, someone has to take the lead. They're showing, big business like Chase cares, and they're putting their money where their mouth is at. So it's good to see, big institution like Chase, giving a lifting hand, to the community, and you got to respect that. It makes me want to bank with Chase, and give them another look. If I go to another institution, I actually see what Chase is doing for the community.
That's right, Chase is doing their part to help advance black wealth. For more money support, tune in every day from 12 to 2 to KBLA Talk 1580's Midday Money Chain, right here.
At City National, we listen to you.
I want to expand my business and my legacy.
I want to set up the next generation for success.
I want to see my vision come to life.
I want to feel right at home.
Your goals, passions, vision, future. We want to hear it and work alongside you to achieve it. Visit cnb.com to learn more. City National Bank. Here for our clients and communities.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. This is your dentist. Do me a favor and feel the front of your teeth. How grimy are they?
Ugh.
It's time for a Crest Pro Health reality checkup. That grime is the buildup of plaque bacteria that can cause cavities in just months. You need to switch to Crest Pro Health. While most toothpaste stop working in minutes, Crest Pro Health's antibacterial fluoride protects for up to 12 hours to stop cavities before they start. So pick some up on the way home. Smile. Crest has you covered.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
Hey. And we're talking about anti-blackness in Los Angeles with attorney Brian Dunn. My name is Melina Abdullah. I'm sitting in Dominique's chair.
Looking good doing it, too.
Thank you. Judy is calling in from Los Angeles. What you got for us, Judy?
Well, thank you so much for this conversation. I really think that we need to call a thing a thing. This is hate. This is racism. I think the Asian saying "Stop Asian Hate" is a perfect example, because when we speak of this is happening because we're black, I really don't like that. There's nothing wrong with being black. There's nothing wrong with the color of my skin. What is wrong is that you hate me and that you're racist. And I think that it's very important to make that distinction.
So Judy, I do want you to comment. One of the things that we just talked about is when we talk about racism and anti-blackness, I think you're right. There is emotion behind it, but there's also a desire to hoard resources behind it. Do you think it's both? Do you think it's just a matter of changing hearts and minds, or is it a matter of changing material conditions?
I do think it's a matter of changing material conditions. I think that is underneath it all. And I really do. And I think that because of that, then what results from it is the hate. I think they are fearful of us. I think.
Well, when you say that, Judy,
really
that's really important, because when we talk about hate and we talk about fear, if you're on the receiving end of it, it's going to feel the same, whether it's motivated by fear, whether it's hate, whether it's hoarding. What do you think about the concept of this? If a person hates me for no reason, they must be afraid of me. Or would it be like that person just hates me because they just hate? And they're not afraid of me. They just want to destroy me. I would submit.
Well, you know what?
It always goes back to fear. But go ahead, Judy. Come on. What do you got?
Yeah, I definitely think that it's both and, not or. It's some of these people are taught to hate.
There it is.
Period.
There it is.
And they're raised up, and our society also gives that subliminal message everywhere.
Like it's okay.
That there's some reason that you should hate black people.
Well, I believe that people...
Hold on one second. I want to bring Brother Billion in, and I also want to just kind of root this in institutions as well, right? So my view is that the emotions are riled up because they're necessary in order to maintain the institutions, right? The emotions are riled up because they're necessary to maintain the institutions. So if we think about chattel slavery, for instance, right? They had to create and dehumanize black people in order to enable this dehumanized condition.
Yes.
Right? It's not natural or human to drive by and see people living in tents. So what do you have to do? You have to say they're not really full and complete human beings. Brother Billion, what are your thoughts?
You actually brought up the point I was going to make. The relationship between us was initiated for economic reasons, to economically exploit us. I mean, I've seen in my life numerous times, just them looking at me, they instantly turn red. So there's clearly
I know about that.
Some hate and fear there, but the initial relationship, they went to Africa and got our ancestors to force them in slavery for economic purposes.
And it's always going to boil down to that. And that's what makes our experience here on American soil different than the experience of any other immigrant to this country. We don't like to talk about America as being as violent as it really is. This was a violent history. Okay.
It is.
And it
continues. Yes. So when we come forward, let's talk about, we'll have a few minutes to talk about how do we disrupt it then? What is our role in disrupting? What is our duty in disrupting? We're talking with attorney Brian Dunn right here on First Things First.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCEL scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right, yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency on low Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
And my name is Melina Abdullah, honored to be sitting in Dominique's chair. Lavette is calling in on line 4 as we wrap up this conversation on defeating anti-blackness in Los Angeles. What you got real quick, Lavette?
Hey, Dr. Melina, and I just wanted to say thank you to your guest. And that's actually one of the reasons why I co-wrote with my colleague Rob McGowan, Combating Anti-Blackness in South Central LA, and we're trying to, train a bunch of folks from the hood to train folks, all over LA County, ideally, to address anti-Blackness. And yeah, I just wanted to say, what your guest was sharing about this rise of anti-Blackness. I feel it as an Indigenous person, so I can only imagine what it's like, right? And for the last few years, I was like, man, is this just me? Like, is this just, how can it just be anecdotal? Like, in other words, there must be data that backs it up, because everywhere I go in LA, almost every day, there's some sort of, reaction.
Thank you, Lizette.
Right. I think this is actually Lizette, because I know that voice. Lizette's been doing a lot of work about Black-Brown solidarity, and did a lot of work actually when we rose up against Kevin De Leon for his anti-Blackness, not just his comments, but his actions. Thank you for calling in, Lizette. Very quickly, Brian Dunn, how do you think we defeat anti-Blackness?
I just think we keep on keeping on. I'm done with solutions. I'm done with sound bites. We just keep surviving. It's going to work out. It's going to work itself out.
Okay.
We are a people that is very hard to kill. We are hard to kill. We're going to keep on going. And we're going to keep on striving and praying. There is no one word. Just don't quit. And don't ever, as a black person, believe that your existence is an accident or that your creator does not want you to be here and proud and strong and black. Because the worst thing is when we start to beat ourselves and when we internalize the impulses of our oppressor. That's when we have to be very careful to keep it out of the dome. The dome is your head.
I also think organizing is so important. So just before you got here, we had 4 beautiful, brilliant black youth in here with the Black Lives Matter Youth Vanguard.
One of our generation's best organizers would say that.
Well, they said it. They talked about how they got police off their campuses. They talked about how important it is that they got more counselors on their campuses. They saw themselves, and this is also in the dome, right?
Right.
To see yourself as an agent of change, an agent
That's right.
capable of toppling even the most unjust institutions. That's part of what you do when you
God does not make
fight
mistakes.
against police violence, right? You're taking on LAPD, right? The most murderous police department in the entire nation, right? That you gotta center
That would
yourself.
be the Kern County Sheriff's, actually, though. Really.
Well,
that
per
that
capita.
type.
So now we're going to go back and forth. Numerically, it's LAPD. They kill more people than
I'm not
any
gonna
other.
disagree with you.
So numerically, because I got to get it in, they've now shot 29 people so far this year. That's more than Kern County, right? Numerically, they've shot 29 people and they've killed 17. So that's more numerically. Not per capita, but numerically.
I agree with you, but I do
than
gotta
any
say one
other
thing.
police department.
When I started in '93, it was a heck of a lot more than that.
Okay, and that proves the point that organizing works. Brian Dunn, how do people follow you?
I can be found anywhere. I got the same job for 30 years. Cochran Firm, Brian Dunn. I'm like an institution. I'm very easy to locate.
Okay. Brian Dunn at the Cochran Firm. Very appreciative. Billion Godson, what's your handle very quickly? How do people follow you?
Billion Godson, and that's it.
Billion Godson. Thank you so much for holding it down.
Appreciate it.
Thank you to Dominique DiPrima for allowing me to sit in her chair. My name is Melina Abdullah. You can follow me at Doc Melly Mel on all social media. And again, calling you out to the Black Lives Matter monthly organizing meeting on Sunday, 7 p.m., 3423 West 43rd Place. You can follow BLMLA on X and BLM Los Angeles on Instagram.
There it is.
Peace out.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Comedian Chris Rock is reportedly in talks to direct and produce a biopic on the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.